So as the class walks in, I would have my objectives posted on the board. I would have my class set up in groups of 4 for the activities that are going to be given during the given class period or 2, depending on how long that it takes, with a map of Africa displayed up on the smart board. So this is the map that I would have displayed, or something along the lines. It covers a lot of different aspects. It shows what they know about maps, what they don't know about maps, latitude, longitude, for example. But I would have them in their groups be discussing this map and trying to come up with a title and make some inferences about this map. After that discussion, we come back together as a class and kind of talk about the actual title of the map, compare their inferences to what it actually is, and then also kind of see what they picked up on latitude, longitude, and whatever other information that we could pick out of each group as we kind of move forward. Then we'd be getting more specific because we're talking about how humans impact the regions that they live in. A region in Africa called the Sahel is going through desertification. So the students are going to be kind of led into what desertification is, the locations that it's taking place, and the reasons as to why it's happening and what can be done to fix it. So we would narrow down the countries that actually make up the Sahel region, and so they would be using their map skills to be able to place those places specifically, and also understand where they are in the world in relative location. All the students will be given a handout, something like this, where it has all of the countries pretty much in the world broken down to life expectancy, income, things like that, for comparison for these countries in the regions of the Sahel, to compare why they are so low, why they are so low initially, but also why are they so low in comparison to the United States and other countries listed on here. So for my students that are kind of on the upper end of that learning curve, the extension that I would bring to the table would be to have them find additional countries to compare life expectancy, income, and other categories to, and do a little extra research and kind of go find some information on their own to bring back to present to the class. So as they were looking over this, they would be talking about what information they are getting, how do the countries compare with those categories, and then how do they compare to the United States. So hopefully through looking at all that, they're finding the relationship of why these countries are so poor and why people don't live that long, so on and so forth. Which leads to a video for a little background knowledge. This is about a man in the Sahel region who comes up with solutions for desertification, about reusable resources, and how to kind of curb the effects and make it better for people who are living in that area. So after watching that, we're going to do an acrostic poem, if you will, in their notes. These would be done individually, so the students would obviously create something for each letter of the word desertification that has to deal with a cause, effect, what can be done, and I'll give them a few minutes to do so. About 7 is about what I had, and then if they, the last 3 minutes, if they got a letter that they did not fill in, I'll let them go around and find a partner that has an R or a T, and they can fill in the rest of their gaps. And to my students that are struggling with this kind of concept, that is the time that I would hope to be pulling them aside into smaller groups and kind of helping them understand and that concept of what desertification is and how that works with the acrostic. Oops. So I just close that out. Is there a pause? Which leads into the reading that would go along with this, which was some background information on desertification. So the students would be reading what the information was presented, and then they would be translating that into their own version over in the other column. So there are some readings to go along with it, as well as illustrations. So you have to make inferences from the illustrations as well. And then on the back end of that, the big thing being cause and effect. So modeling for me would be telling a story about how something happened. So I got to work late. Well, what caused me to get to work late? Well, the night before I had stayed up super late playing video games. Well, why did I stay up late playing super video games, whatever the case may have been? So I can show that cause and effect relationship through a story about myself or something else. And then I have a few examples of flow charts and things like that put in cause and effect for the students to be able to look at. So as a group, they would create a poster to display for the class to present to the class, kind of just highlighting the ideas of desertification, what are the causes, what are the effects, and then ultimately what are the results for both of those. Then to close with the lesson, students would be, so this would be either homework or if they had time in class they could finish it, but it would be a writing piece that would kind of explain the relationship between desertification, the effects, and how what's the relationship between people and desertification in the Sahel region of Africa.